Hello and welcome to the Business Programme. I'm Liz Hay and today I'm joined by my very special guest, Jo Watson, freelance copywriter, editor and trainer. In her own words, Jo is a writer of stuff. She makes other people's written stuff better and trains people to write their own stuff. Jo is a CMI chartered manager and former teacher. She recently shared her talents at CopyCon 2019, where she was invited to speak and is set to grace the stage again in 2020. Hi Jo.
Hello Liz.
And welcome to the programme.
Thank you very much for having me.
Can you begin by explaining what you're passionate about, Jo, and how you became a copywriter?
I think the passion really was nothing to do with writing. It was all to do with arguing and complaining in particular. I used to write lots of letters when I was at school, both at school and for my family, where I just complain about things, or I'd like campaign for change, and I usually got my own way with it. It was quite good. So as I grew up, I started to figure that I actually had quite a big talent for getting people to take on board a message through the written word. So a kind of hobby came into a skill, and then it turned into a career for me.
Fab. And what does a copywriter or a writer of stuff do day to day?
Okay, well, I have to describe myself as a writer of stuff, because when you say copywriter, people usually fall into two camps. The first lot of people start asking you about copyright law, which of course I've got nothing to do with. That's the whole legal thing. And the other half of people assume that you write books, or that you're an author, or that you can get their book published for them, which I can't. And even if I could, I wouldn't want to half the time, some of the ideas that get put to me. So a copywriter writes stuff for businesses. So it might be web content, articles, pitches, presentations, or my personal favourite, which is the blog. That's always a nice one to do for businesses.
Mm-hmm. And how important would you say copywriting is for businesses?
Well, I think it's immensely important, but I still don't think the world of business quite gives it the credit it deserves. So you get people who will spend thousands of pounds on a fantastic all singing, all dancing website, but when it comes to actually putting the content on there, they're just not even bothered. Or if you put a price to them, whatever price you say, it's far too much. So it seems as though the world really values the aesthetics and how it looks and how it comes across and what the website can do, but they don't really value the words as much. But they are so important, because essentially that is what is going to explain to your potential customers what you can do for them and why they should choose you, and why they should choose you above your competition, more importantly. So yeah, it's immensely valuable.
And what do you most enjoy, Jo, about your work?
I market myself so that I can find people who really want to work with me. I kind of market myself as someone who can write for people who want personality in their project. So if people are very corporate, I don't really want them to come seeking me out. And to be honest, based on some of the things I write on LinkedIn, I doubt they're going to come looking for me anyway. I'm a little bit edgy, to say the least. So I do market myself towards people who want a bit of personality coming across. So it is people who want to make an impact and people who want to have their voice heard so that they can shout a bit louder above their competition, because we're all in competition with someone, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. And how easy is it to assume their voice when you're writing for one of these businesses?
It's a lot easier than you might think, actually, because I think when I first started and I started considering tone of voice, you do imagine yourself wearing a different hat and, putting yourself in their position and speaking as they would speak. But over time, because of the clients that I attract, and as I say, I really enjoy attracting those particular clients, they tend to have a very similar style to you anyway, and that's why they feel so aligned with you, and they believe that you could actually just go ahead and speak in their voice quite naturally, because it's very similar to your own. Doesn't always happen, and of course adjustments always need to be made, but I think I can read people well enough to just have even the shortest of conversations, and I can pick up on what they want and what they want to say. And it's always about going for the simplest thing as well. It's not about sitting there and thinking, how can I write this? The simplest ways are usually the best.
Right, and you recently spoke at CopyCon 2019.
I did.
Tell us a little bit about that opportunity and how you found the experience.
It was a bit of a shock to the system, because I was due to go to CopyCon as a delegate. I wanted to go, I wanted to learn, and I was really looking forward to hearing and seeing all these fantastic copywriters who, some write for massive brands and some are very, very well known. And I was really looking forward to learning from them. But I'd pitched to speak at next year's event and I got accepted for that, which was fantastic. But then I got a call saying, actually, will you speak at this year's event? It was lovely, but it's not because they couldn't do without me. It wasn't because of that. It's because they had to get rid of someone else. And I don't know what the reasons were. And they looked at who they had lined up for 2020 and saw who they could bring forward. I thought prior to going on that stage, I was pretty good at the whole public speaking thing, and I'd led training myself because as well as being a copywriter, I am a trainer for doing that so that people can upskill their own departments and themselves. So I thought I was really quite good. And then I saw all those other people on stage and I thought, oh, I've really got to raise my game. But I see that as a good thing because I want to be the best, and I don't want anyone leaving my session thinking, oh, as I wouldn't want them looking at my writing and feeling nothing. So I really want to make sure I've got an impact in what I write and what I say. So it's really forced me to up my game. So hopefully I'll be back on that stage in 2020, unless I do something wrong between now and then.
That's great. And for our viewers, Jo, do you need any formal qualifications to become a copywriter?
I don't think so. There are qualifications you can get, and if people have got them, they should be proud of them because obviously there are standards that they'll have to meet in order to get it. I had a degree in English. I honestly don't think it's helped me in any way. So when people say, oh, I've got a degree in English, I could do it, I kind of think, well, it's not really anything to do with it. It's a lot about reading people and getting a relationship with people and just having a skill with words that's somewhere between an art and a science, I think. And somehow I don't think studying English language quite prepares you for that. So I think it all comes through the type of person you are and the other qualities that you can bring to working with someone.
Mm-hmm. And what should a business consider before actually engaging with a copywriter?
I'd hope that they know what a copywriter is, because I do still get the phone calls saying we want someone to look over our legal documents, which I'd be more than happy to do, but I'm not going to do very well at it. And if you're expecting me to keep you out of prison, I possibly can't do that. So I would expect people to do the research. They know what a copywriter is. They know what value that person or that team can bring to their business. And I'd really hope that they would look at the website of the people that they're interested in, because you'd hope that they'd get a good feel for that person by what they write in their own words and to promote their own business. So if someone doesn't like the way I come across or how I write on my website, I possibly wouldn't expect them to be giving me a call. It might be a waste of all of our time. So have a look at what they're doing, but also I think recommendations and referrals, the world we're in, getting those referrals from other people is key. So that's why I'm always keen to get my testimonials out there of people largely saying nice things about me.
Great. And is there, finally, Jo, any advice you'd give to our viewers who are thinking about engaging with a copywriter? What sort of questions might they ask? What sort of things should they consider?
One thing I would say, and I don't know how well this is going to go down really, is that don't start with the price. So if you're going to engage a copywriter, don't go to them and say, how much is it going to cost to do this? Because one, that shouldn't be your main concern. It should be how much value they can bring to your project and what they can physically do with your writing. But also as well, going in with that question, I think it shows that you're not really valuing everything that is on offer. And plus, we don't know how much it's going to take. We don't know if you want 2 words and you're not bothered what those 2 words are as long as they're written on paper, or we don't know if you want your entire website rewriting and how many pages are on there and how fussy you're going to be and how controlling you're going to be as a customer, because we just don't know the old how long is a piece of string thing. We'll only know how much it's going to cost once we've sat down with you and we've put a proposal together. So if you're thinking of getting a copywriter and you're just going to do it based on a how much, it's not going to work at all.
Great start, eh? Well, thank you very much, Jo. Thanks for joining me, and we wish you and a good write-up every success
Thank you.
in 2020 and beyond.
Thank you.
Thank you. That's all we have time for on today's show, but do join me again next time on the business programme.